Bookkeeping for NDIS self-managers. Managing your budget, records, and spending. In this video, we'll cover essential bookkeeping skills for self-managing your NDIS plan, including record keeping, budgeting, and tracking spending. You'll gain practical tips to help you stay organised and make the most of your NDIS funding. Acknowledgement of country. We would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land where we meet. We recognise their continuing connection to land, water, and community, and pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging. We would also like to acknowledge people with disability, their families, carers, and supporters, and those individuals that have experienced or are experiencing violence, abuse, neglect, and exploitation. About AFTO. The Australian Federation of Disability Organisations, or AFTO, is a peak body that represents 41 different disabled people's organisations across Australia. AFTO is dedicated to advocating for the rights of people with disabilities and providing resources to support their independence, including self-management of NDIS plans. Hi, I'm Cheryl Knight. I'm a disability activist, expert consultant, and sector professional with lived experience of multiple disabilities. This video is part of an AFTO project with Extra Foundation to provide financial literacy resources for NDIS participants. So what you'll learn: how to set up a budget, how to keep good records, and how to track your spending. Record keeping. Record keeping is a crucial part of self-managing your NDIS plan. The NDIS requires you to keep records of all invoices and receipts for the past 5 years. This might sound daunting, but there are simple ways to do it, whether you prefer physical or online methods. Physical record keeping. You can use a filing system with labelled folders to store all of your paperwork. Make sure each folder is clearly marked by category, such as invoices or receipts. Online record keeping. If you prefer digital, you can scan your documents and store them in organised folders on your computer or cloud storage. There are also apps designed to help with this, making it easy to keep everything in one place. Reasonable and necessary justification. Remember, it's also important to link your expenses to what's reasonable and necessary under your NDIS plan. Keeping clear records can help justify your spending if you're ever asked to. Budgeting. Budgeting your NDIS plan is all about making sure your funds last the entire period. It's about finding a balance, spending enough to get the support you need without running out of funds too soon. Needs versus wants. Start by distinguishing what you need and what you want. Focus your budget on needs first, then allocate anything left over for wants. Monthly budgeting. Break your budget down by month. This makes it easier to manage your spending and adjust if needed. For example, if you know you have a large expense coming up, you can plan for it by spending less in other areas. Spending tracking. Once you've set up your budget, the next step is to track your spending to make sure you're sticking to it. This means regularly updating a spending tracker. Physical tracking. You can use a simple notebook to write down your expenses and calculate how much you have left. This is a low-tech but effective method. Online tracking. There are also online tools and apps that can automatically track your spending and show you how much of your budget remains. This can be especially handy if you're using digital records. Spending profit versus deficit. Spending profit. If you're consistently spending less than your budget, that's great. You might be able to save or allocate funds to other needs. Spending deficit. If you're spending more than your budget, it's time to reassess and adjust. Look at where you can cut back or plan better for future expenses. Conclusion. To wrap up, I want to emphasize that bookkeeping, budgeting, and spending tracking are skills that you can develop over time. There are plenty of resources available if you feel you need more help. Don't forget to check out the other videos in this series, and thank you for watching. For more information, take a look at the written resources available on AFTO's website, the link for which will be in the video description.